Hey, what's up? It's Wednesday, October 25th, and I am late. That's my bad. Supposed to have something come out on Mondays, but it did not work out this week for whatever reason. There is echo. Okay. Hey, man. Hey, I'm trying to be creative and professional here. Is there any way you could not do that? Come here. Echo. Something's outside. It's nothing. But he thinks it's something. No, he's going to open the door on his own. This is a great way to start a podcast. Thanks for... oh, fuck. I mean... Hold on. Then push it open, asshole. Don't come to my fucking house because this is what you're going to get. What an incredible guard dog. There's absolutely nothing. I mean, I could see maybe he's tripping on wind or something, but it's like... I mean, I know you guys have something better to listen to than me and my fucking dog. Thanks anyway. So, sorry about being late. That's what it is sometimes, work schedule. This is going to be episode 12. We are in, what, 6th grade? Yay. I had a fucking day today, man. So, headaches have been pretty consistent over the years, but they're starting to get, a little bit worse. So, had to go get an MRI. A lot of fun. If you've never done that, it's exactly what everybody says it is. You sit in a tube. If you don't like being in tubes, well, you fucking sweat and just stay nervous for a while. So it was great. It was a lot of fun for a half an hour. I've had a couple MRIs, and I don't remember this thing being over my fucking face, but it was like an Iron Maiden. And then she's like, this chick she was really nice. Don't get me wrong, totally professional. But she's like, you want some headphones? And they're like full on headphones. And then you stuff your head into this plastic thing. So there's like no room. But, once you get back in there, they start the scans. All the noises are happening. And I told her, she gave me a earplug, hearing protection. And I'm like, I don't really even hear that good anyway, which explains my loud mouth and everything else you guys have to deal with. So thanks. I don't hear that well anyway, so it's probably not. She's like, well, you just okay. So I put them in, and then, what kind of music do you like? I was like, well, I'm kind of like the heavy side. And she was like heavy metal? Yeah. I kind of like heavy metal. She was like, oh, okay. So like new heavy or old heavy? I will be 41 soon. So I realize that I'm fucking old now. I'm okay with that. It's a bummer that, you're just fucking old, but, I'm like, hey, just to ask, like, what is your, when you think of old or new metal, like, what do you think of? Like, what's old metal? She's like, I really don't know. I'm sorry. I'm like, it's cool. That's why I asked, she was like, but we have, whatever they had, and it's got like hair bands of the 80s. I said, check it out, man. Just put on whatever you want. So then I get back into the tube and you can't hear any fucking thing anyway. And the whole point is to stay still, of course, which I have a problem doing when I'm trying to just sit around. I'm pretty fidgety and scribbling on a piece of paper as we speak. So that is a whole thing for me. But what I figured out about this, and she said I did really well. It's like, what a test in like mental fortitude, I guess. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but it's just, like, because I just wanted out of this thing. And there was one time when I opened my eyes and the whole cover thing for your face is right on top of you. So there is no room. And so I looked up and they had air blowing. So my eyes started watering. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't want my eyes to be open. I don't want to see how close this thing is to me. So it's like, close your eyes, but then my eyes are water. And so I wanted to wipe my eyes, but then you got to ask yourself, like, if I have her stop this thing and pull me all the way out to wipe my eyes, and then it takes an extra 15 minutes, what's the point of that? It just prolongs this whole process. So I didn't, just stuck it out, but it reminded me of a long distance run. The longest I've ran on my own is a half marathon. But it reminds you of the peaks and valleys of a long distance run like that, because at first you're jacked and this is going to be fine. And then, for me, that first like 1.5 miles to 2 miles is when I feel any kind of like pain or irregularity at all. After that, I pick up speed. I feel less pain at all. And just after that first mile or two, I could just cruise. And so it reminded me of that a lot. Just, you're chilling. I was just thinking about the podcast and like what some ideas and just some other, just ups and downs. And then you'll go from that to oh fuck, where am I? And then actually open your eyes and you're like, oh my God, I hate being in here. And then you hear the magnets bouncing around. And so it was kind of a cool little mental test for today. Just to get it done and out of the way. And I don't know, I hope there's nothing wrong, obviously, but just the headaches and shit. And then like the memory stuff is going a little more. Maybe I just fucked myself up on drugs too. I mean, obviously that, you can't do the drugs in the type of drugs I was doing, meth and pills, and the amount I was doing, let's just say a lot. And not to like after that expect any kind of long-term effects. So, and I don't mean to laugh it off. You guys know that, of course. But that's just how I got to think about it, is some kind of funny. But I'm hoping that, cause I got tested, like years ago. I don't know how long ago it was, a few years now, 5 or 6 years, for any kind of TBI, traumatic brain injury stuff. And that one didn't show anything. Now, I don't know if those type of things, they describe them like dots. They're either white dots or black dots. I don't know. But I don't know if those can come like later, right? So I don't know if anything could have changed from then. So let's say it hasn't. And let's say that they come back, that this whole MRI comes back and like there's nothing to be worried about. Well, fuck, then that means all the damage I've done, whether it's like fighting and getting kicked in the head and or like drugs and alcohol and just partying my face off for, I don't know, the better part of 15 years, really. I'd be pissed if I did that much damage to myself, which I know I'm not the only one, but I'm sitting here talking to you, so I only have my experiences to go off of. So we'll see what the results of that are. I'll keep you posted, unless they're too bad, and then I'll still tell you, because then it'll be funny. Like my next evolution that I did today, I went and got my eyes checked a month ago. Driving to work or home from work at night, I'm going like against traffic, so it's all these bright lights and everybody's got the fucking LEDs now, and it's just like I have to kind of stare to my right at that white line. It's a soft shoulder most of the way I go to work, so in order to not stare at these things and then just have, because I'm talking about, if you know anywhere around here, Highway 79, it's just miles of cars coming at me in the dark. So I just like, if I stare at it, it's just blind and fucking hope for the best. But so I try to avoid it. But the optometrist was like, listen, I can give you a prescription, but I just don't think it's going to be that helpful. She said, you can try the yellow lens, like safety glasses. Apparently those cut down on that blue light, which I didn't, because whatever, if it's not something that, I don't know, I should try it, I'm sure, is what I'll be told. But it's like, if it's not a prescription thing, just fucking deal with it. You're getting older and your eyes might be fading a little bit, and that's what it is. But she did come out from behind her machines, whatever, a month ago. Said, "Hey, do you have any family history of glaucoma?" Now, I don't know a whole lot. I don't have a lot of family history as far as medical issues go. Both my parents died really young, but that was kind of self induced. So, you know, my mom's heart problems and stuff, that's not like a hereditary or uh, generational thing that's going on in my family history. It's all self induced. Us people in my family that don't take care of ourselves. And but so when a medical professional asks you a question like that, they wouldn't be asking you if there wasn't a reason, right? So it's not like she came out from behind this equipment and was like, "Hey, do you have any family history of glaucoma?" And if I said no, she'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool, just curious." So obviously she had a reason to ask me if I had family history of glaucoma. And I said, "No, but I don't like this question whatsoever." And she's like, "Listen, I don't have a baseline to go off of. I haven't gotten one of those stupid pictures where they take um, photos of your optic nerve and it looks like space or something. It's fucking weird that that's what's going on inside your eyeballs and that's what makes it work. But uh, so I don't. There's no baseline to speak of. So they didn't know what my normal was, right? So I'm like, no. She's like, listen, this is, this nerve is supposed to look like a donut in the fact of like the outside's supposed to be, but none of this makes sense to me now. I really don't know what glaucoma is. And I even asked her, I'm like, can you die from glaucoma? And she's like, no. And I'm like, oh, okay. All I know about glaucoma is like you can get to smoke weed or something. No, I think that was what I remember about people with glaucoma was that medical marijuana helped them. So I obviously couldn't work if I was going blind. So, I mean, at least I'd have somewhat of a reason to use cannabis and not get in trouble for it, which would be sick. So she wanted to bring me back for testing, just some further testing to make sure. Well, that was today. I decided to schedule a meeting with school for one of my kids. It was a good meeting, so nothing bad, but schedule that, an MRI, and a double glaucoma test for all one of my days off. So it's been a fun day. But so you do the stupid little test things, and I'm sitting in the chair in the office waiting for someone to come back and read me the results. Because luckily enough, you don't have to wait. Like the MRI, I have to wait. My doctor goes over my guess and then calls me with the results. I don't know. But I asked the girl that was the female, the woman, whatever, that was giving the test to me, like, am I going to find out what's up today? She's like, yeah. I was like, okay. So while I'm waiting in the room, I'm thinking like, I'm going to be 41 on Christmas Day coming up. And I don't know what the time frame is to go blind, like all the way from glaucoma, right? I don't know. So if you're listening to this going, it's 6 months or it can be over 8 years or whatever. Good for you for knowing that, because I don't know anyone with glaucoma. I never have. So I'm sitting there thinking, like, what would I do if I go blind? So there are a couple different schools of thought for me personally. Um, I've seen a lot of really memorable stuff, good and bad, I think. But I've literally been around the world. I, have just ran like a gypsy my whole life. I just wanted to go places and do things, and it was always what's next. So, I mean, there's that, right? So I have those mental, those personal images downloaded, I'm sure, somewhere. Now, I could have smoked all of them away, but hopefully, like, if someone was talking about the Grand Canyon, I could pull that memory back up, right? Which I can because I am right now. But I was thinking, like, what am I going to do? So I can't work eventually. I wouldn't be able to work. My job requires that I have to visually inspect and see a lot of things happening. So I would definitely not be working. Like, what would be the cause of this thing? That's another whole deal. Um, But so I start going into like seeing my kids get married. That'd be a real drag. Like Alicia could have her new boyfriend kind of here. And if I couldn't smell or hear anything, like if he just didn't wear, you know, like strong deodorant that I couldn't smell, because hopefully my smelling would get better. Probably not. But she could just have her new boyfriend here, and I wouldn't know about that. So I mean, whatever. It probably wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I was thinking to myself all these things about like how funny it would actually be, right? A motherfucker like me that's done all the bad in the world that I have done, and I'm trying to do better now. But it would be ironic and kind of funny. But I was thinking like, you know, just wiping your ass. That would be such a drag to have glaucoma. So, and I was talking to, sorry, I'm leading you guys down a road here. The results came up negative. I do not have glaucoma. Not one or two of my eyes have glaucoma. So I'm cool there. So I get home, speaking of wiping your ass and how shitty that would be. Hey, there we go. I get home and Alicia's like, so I'm like, I'm good, and she's like, oh my God. Like, I'm so glad. I'm like, at least it would be funny. She's like, no, it wouldn't. You're fucking 41. You having glaucoma in both your eyes, it's not funny. And then she even said, like, I'd have to wipe your ass for you. I'm like, exactly. That would be funny. But it wouldn't be funny at all to have to depend on someone. First of all, I don't think my wife's going to be the one to do that. And if you ask her, she's definitely going to be the one to do that, or her new boyfriend. So with somebody's wiping my ass, but you can't have that, right? So it's got to be like a nurse you hire in. But then I'm thinking like just everything. What about since I'm staring at my weights, what about lifting weights? Well, so I start going into this thing and I'm not at all minimizing how serious going blind would be. So don't jump my shit about it. I'm trying to make it funny. But so the weights have like the weight, it's written on them and you could just feel it. So you'd have to start feeling it. But then like if you're benching and, I've got safety pins. So if I were to drop the weight, it won't fall and crush my blind face, which would be funny too. But like, how would you rack the bar? It's just out of feel. But if you're going really heavy, you'd be fucked if you missed one side, which, again, kind of funny. Guns, that would do no one any good to have firearms around at all. So Cash, Alicia's pretty good on them. My God, we trained before, so she knows enough to know what to do, which is cool. But I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. Cash would have to cover that. Cutting the grass would be fucking funny because it would just be like, imagine how funny it would be for a blind dude. Well, for me being blind to cut the grass, it'd be fucking funny. But then like, I'm into my shoes. How could you buy new shoes and know, because Alicia's style isn't the same as mine. So I'm just thinking of all these like things that maybe I could start writing some stand up. Cause it's like, if I'm not working, I'm going to do something. So try to make it funny because I'm going to try not to just be a miserable cunt because I'm blind of something that I probably didn't do to myself. It's just the way my shit was supposed to go. So try to make it funny. Try to continue podcasting and like feeling this bored, and come to find out I've been talking for 2 hours and the mics weren't, whatever. But some of that shit would be kind of funny too. But I was thinking like to do stand up. Okay. You can only hear the crowd's reaction. So you could just go to open mics, and we have the Funny Bone here in St. Louis, and there's some other shit you can go to Helium, and so there's some other stuff you could go to, but you can't hear the crowd. You can't see the crowd's reaction. You can hear it, of course, but so who gives a fuck when you bomb, which you're going to? But I think you could use that, and I think some of it could be pretty funny. Like if a plane's going down and I'm on it, I don't give a fuck. I'll never know how close the ground is. Everybody else will be screaming, and it's just like, man, it'd be cool if you were me because I can't see shit. And when this thing hits, it's just going to hit. Of course, I don't want any of that to happen. Again, this is supposed to be funny. but just everyday stuff. So I'm thinking about like, how can I make this thing? Because honestly, when I was doing the tests, I did not feel great about what was going on. I'm like, dude, you are going blind. You should have known this already. Like it should be pretty apparent to you that you can't see shit, which I can. But I'm in a test for fucking glaucoma in both of my eyes. So of course I'm going to get like the worst, like, oh fuck, what are we going to do when we're blind? You can't drive anymore. Fuck that. So I'm trying to think all these ways that I can make this funny and still have fun in my life, which I would. I just find it hard to believe that I would just roll over and not enjoy anything. You can still work out. You can still do push-ups and sit. I mean, it's not that hard. You're on the fucking ground already. As long as nothing's around, you're going to bang your head on. You should be fine. So, but then again, boy, oh boy, a lot of it would suck. Not being able to see the kids play sports. So Alicia would have to be my commentator, which would be fucking funny. Or like if I wanted to Google something, Alicia would have to do it for me. So we always like make jokes about when we're old and how I'm just kind of like, I don't need her for everything, but when it comes to some shit, like it's a wrap, dude. I'm just asking Alicia. But, just this old bag of shit, Alicia, just like screaming for her across the house. And for fucking what? What do you want? And I just think it'd be pretty funny. But of course, not being able to drive and like see the sun up, dawn, not being able to see that, or dusk, that would suck too. So anyway, I'm sitting there going through all this stuff, and it's probably like 8 minutes or something before the tech comes in and is telling me what's going on. But I'm going through my whole life, and this is like, whoa, you should not stress about stuff you can't control. And I know that, but I'm just trying to be realistic and think about it. So here she comes. She's like, and right when she walks in, she's like, good news. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ, So I'm a glaucoma survivor. I do not have double glaucoma, which is cool. I'll take it. But there would have been some funny to it. And I think if you can find the funny, it takes a sting out of it a little bit. I think so anyway. I don't know. That would be my way of dealing with it, because what else can you do? I just can't be a dick all the time to everybody else around me, my family, because I have glaucoma. That wouldn't be nice. I'm going to try to be nice, which I'm not sometimes. I was supposed to be on the Zoom meeting at 9:30 this morning. Alicia comes in at 9:20. Or no, 9:10, I'm sorry. I was raised, I like to be woken up kind of easy. And she wasn't screaming. It was just that now when she came in and said, hey babe, that Zoom meeting's in 20 minutes. I think she knows me well enough to know that I like a lot more than 20 minutes to get up and get moving. I would rather wake up an hour early and be able to do my whole little process thing than like, I'm not going to get up and brush my teeth and put my boots on and go straight to work. Like I will not do that. Even if I took a shower the night before, I'm getting up. Let's see, I get up at 3:40 and I got to be there at 5. So like, a significant amount of time. Some would say too much time, but not for me. I like my time. I like to do the way I like to do it. So I think she would know that. And I just kind of woke up shitty, but I got good sleep out of it. I just didn't want to wake up I want to wake up on my own. So when I didn't get to do that, I was kind of bitchy. But it would be even more funny if she had to wake me up when I was blind and like stumble around and kick stuff. I mean, I'm sure it would be a while to adjust to that. It would be fucking funny. Kicking shit all the time and dropping stuff. And then like, what if you burn your toast and you don't, I guess you would start to hear about it. Like you would, like when you're buttering your toast, you could probably tell obviously by feel with your other hand if it was more or less done, but all that shit. I made bacon and eggs today when I got home from my MRI and not knowing, I like my bacon a certain way. I like my eggs done a certain way. Not being able to just know that would really fuck me up because I like certain things the way I like them, and I know we all do, but it's just funny to think about how many mistakes you would make before you got to be able to just walk out to the mailbox, that little ass tree in front of my yard. In the middle of my yard, I'd run into that fucking thing constantly. So it would be, I don't know. I think it'd be a little funny, but of course it's a horrible disease, and I'm sorry for anybody that knows anybody that has it. It's a real bummer. I'm not making fun. I'm just making light of a situation that is no longer even in my life. So stop talking about it. Speaking of running into stuff, coming home, I had some night shifts, and on that last one, dude, I was struggling. Like the time, the little digital clock on the bottom of your computer screen, I couldn't focus in on it and shit. So I was kind of feeling rough about going home. But like I said, going home is with all the traffic. So the best thing I can do, and especially now it's getting a little cooler out, the deer are starting to cross this road. I mean, it's nuts. There's just deer littered all over this thing at some times of the year, and that's now. But in 7 years, I haven't hit one. No deer problems for me whatsoever. Most of the guys at work have had incidents with deer. I just haven't yet, so I've been lucky on that. Well, here comes this buck, and I can't say how big he was because it happened kind of quick. I was not as alert as I would like to be. I was pretty alert, but not as much as I'd like to be. And I saw him coming out. Of course, he's slipping and sliding all over the place. And I got some antler off of him pretty good. So it wasn't a direct impact. He kind of hit my driver's side. I got a dope ass Tacoma. He hit the back door of the crew cab, extended cab, but with just his antler. And it sounded really loud. So I pulled over at the gas station not far away just to check it out. And so I'm looking back in my side mirror, and I can see my gas pump little door, my gas tank door is like ajar. So I'm like, fuck, he ripped that whole thing off, And he didn't. I don't even know if he scratched the paint. I haven't gotten into it, like as far as buffing it out and shit goes. I'm going to take it to work and see what the boys think. They're my go-to for anything. But I was happily surprised. And the door on the gas tank was just open because obviously he bumped it, and it springs open on itself. So no fucking real damage, luckily, because I just don't want to buy a new truck right now. I don't want to buy a new anything really right now. But I just like my shit. I like my truck just fine the way it is. And I've heard like these trucks are going for $100,000. I'm not that guy. I don't tow anything. I don't have boats and RVs and stuff. So I don't need a big truck, is why I got a mid-sized girl's truck, but I like it a lot. And so he didn't do that bad. We call the dude TJ. And if it does need any kind of touch-up stuff, I got a guy for that. So hopefully it'll go over without, I just fuck it. If it doesn't buff out, fuck it. I don't have to get a paint job, which I'm cool with. But yeah, not having to buy a new vehicle right now would be great. The interest rates are up real high. We had a friend of a friend come over and look at the basement. We're going to put in another bedroom and bathroom down here. And we don't even have an idea of how much it is, but you got to figure like 30, 40 grand. I talked to a couple of the guys that used to build homes, and they're like, yeah, it's probably a safe bet to be thinking around there somewhere. So just looking at like loan stuff, I don't know. Sorry, but podcasting has made me $0. So I definitely don't have 40,000 to hand over to anybody. But just looking at interest rates and shit, it's all like 8 and 9%, and we've shopped around. So we'll figure it out. But I definitely don't want to have to go buy a new vehicle. However, I work at this place, and yeah, dude, deer are going to cross the road. So hopefully it doesn't happen. And if it does, maybe it'll make me go blind. Did anybody find that funny at all? I thought it was a pretty good one. But that's just me. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the MRI. No double Glock, so we're cool there. What else is happening? Oh, I hope somebody got something good out of that Shapiro podcast. I was really happy with that one, and he said he had fun, and I wish we could do more often, more time, more everything. But I hope that that hit somebody. I hope it got through to somebody, or if like I was saying, know somebody it might get through to. Please reach out. I'd be happy to help. If you can send, if I can send anybody his way, if they're willing to do what he advises them to do, fuck that, tells them what to do, they're gonna make it. I promise. It's one of those deals where if I can, anybody can, and I don't just say that lightly. It's true. Um, we we went to see a play of The Wedding Singer last weekend, I think. Um, it was a lot of fun. No, it was a good time. We had two of the kids with us. One of them was staying with a friend, so we had the oldest Chevelle and Cash with us, and we went out to Florissant, the Civic Center. That's where they had it at, and that was crazy because Florissant, excuse me, the Hazelwood Florissant area is where I grew up. It was my whole life until like 28. 20, no, that's not true. In there somewhere. It was a lot of most of my life. Besides leaving for military and school and stuff like that. But it's also where all of my trouble was. So I haven't been back. When my mom and grandma died, they died within a month of each other. So that was the last reasons I had to go back. I don't do a lot of what's it called, cemetery. I don't do a lot of those visits. My grandma and grandpa are out there, but that's just not my thing. So I don't have a lot of reasons to go back there. However, we were looking for something fun to do with the kids, and Alicia found this thing, and she loves The Wedding Singer. Who doesn't love The Wedding Singer movie, of course? So we went and checked that out, and it's like this like group of actors, thespians, um, and they like put on a bunch of shows and stuff. So anyway, we were doing this one, and the play was fine. It was fun. The kids didn't even get it because they had never really seen the movie. So we were supposed to watch the movie the next day, and then everybody like got a half hour in and didn't want to watch it anymore. We are great, but going out there was interesting because I kind of took the kids down Limburg, like the old stomping grounds, and showed them because like now we're going to this place that I went to summer camp for years. It was like me, my sister, a whole crew. I don't know how many of us there were, 5, 6, 7, 8, something, but there was a crew of us that all went there. Um, all our parents still work back then. So, you know, early 90s and shit, this whole thing about like having to have your kids in a fucking daycare place or someone reputable, and that just wasn't we were all poor people, so we like stayed at home by ourselves, way too young, and so we drove past where I used to live on Loyola, and I was telling the kids this whole story on the way there, and they're like, "What do you mean, Grandma just let you just ride you guys' bikes?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, this was fucking when shit was real. It was awesome back then. You just go." So I took them by the house. And I'm like, "All right." So we would get on our bikes here, and then I don't know. I'm guessing like 6, 7 miles. Uplandburg, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 miles. Who cares? The point was, we all made our lunches, put our shit in our backpack, got on our bikes, met up like I think at my house. At the one dude, Corey, came from up the street. Chucky, Josh, Heather, Angel. It was like a crew, and we all met up, I think at my house, and just took off. And like, just parenting. I know that our parents, like, we were always running. Always. Like all you guys were. I'm sure we're all pretty close to the same age. And if you're younger, your childhood sucked. But we would just run kind of like North Lindbergh's not a place for kids to be crossing the street, and we did it fucking on a daily basis. And so yeah, we would all get on our bikes and mob up there. And I mean, we were good about it because it was morning rush hour, and we'd go up to the stoplights and wait, and we, you know, I mean, we kind of followed the rules, but we got there and got home every day or however long it was through the summer for a few years, man. And I'm thinking about that, like, not a fucking chance I would let my kids do that. Why? Well, I guess, is it because we know how many more weirdos are out there now? Because, like, of course, in the 90s, you didn't know. There wasn't that app thing where you can see how many weirdos live in your neighborhood and throw shit at their house. There wasn't, like, you knew they were there, and people were always getting abducted and killed. And that just shit hasn't changed that much. It's just that it's in our face now. It's right in your pocket. Every time you open that thing, it's better to keep everyone scared and kind of in the house, I think. So it's like, I don't think the dangers have changed that much, but the parenting obviously has, right? For my mom to be able to just go, all right, you guys have a good day, be careful. And of course she fucking worried, but it's like, what else could she do? You know, she was doing it on her own. So it wasn't like, hey, you're going to go to your dad's for the afternoon. And then that wasn't happening either. So she just kind of didn't have a choice. And so we all just made it. And there was that trust thing there where, like, we didn't want mom to not trust us and all that shit, but times have changed. And I'm sure for the better, right? Because it's like, that probably wasn't the best idea, but it wasn't like it was just me or just my sister or just Josh or just Chucky or just, it was a crew of us, and we were little motherfuckers. So, like, we, you know, we looked out for each other and shit like that. And I don't know, but pulling up to the Civic Center where the play was, it was like, damn, man, that's a little bit further than a little bit. My kids practice and basically do everything. I don't even think it's like a mile and some change away. Now, the main drag by the house, a big section of it doesn't have a sidewalk. If it did, I think I would at least let Cash ride his bike to practice. And if he was with his sister, probably both of them. And now everybody's got a phone, and I can get to them pretty quick. Like, I can just run through the woods. And I mean, I could, if your fucking kids call you and they're in trouble, you get there quick. But it's just, it's weird how times change. But, you know, Cash and Savvy wanted to go down to the creek the other day, and I was like, yeah, dude, go get dirty. You guys need to be outside, just not caring about it. Leave your phones here, put some shitty clothes on, and go get dirty. So they go down there, and we had been down there before, and kind of there's a bridge not too far, like it's a little ways from where we kind of go into the woods at, or into the creek at. And there was like, there's some spray painting and shit, and I saw like some needles and stuff, but so obviously somebody's down there doing their thing and partying, and no, I don't like it. No, I don't think it's right at all. But like, to understand the mindset of a drug addict, I guess you have to be one, right? So it's like, if you're looking for somewhere to go shoot dope under a bridge somewhere, if that's not a fucking Red Hot Chili Pepper song, I don't know what is, literally. So we kind of walked down there, and there was nobody there, and I was with them. This was a while back, but I'm like, hey man, I don't want you guys fucking around down here. So when they were going down there the other day, they got their bucket with their little tools and stuff, and I said, check it out, man. I got to get changed. I'm going to get the dog, and I'll meet you down there in a minute. But I don't want you going down that way. Stay right here. We've got like a marking where we go in and out at. Stay right there. Fuck around. Have some fun. Catch some crawdads or whatever. And then Echo and I will meet you down there in a minute. And before I could even get dressed and, get down there, they had already come walking back up the street. And I was like, what's happening? And I guess they had saw a bottle of liquor or something, and just they had saw a couple things that made them feel a little uneasy, like somebody might be down there. So they're not far from where we were. They still know that there's danger. I mean, not danger necessarily, but they know that like if I went down there, I probably wouldn't be happy with the whole situation. They said there was like a tarp or a tent. So maybe somebody was camping like closer because like if you just go down in this creek, you're out of view. So it's like there's still they're I mean kids are obviously human beings in general are about survival, so it's not like they're so stupid that they can't look at a situation and go, okay, something doesn't seem right, or I don't know what dad would think about this, like let's just go back up to the house, which I'm really glad that they did, and I didn't go down there and check it out or anything because that just be a problem. But no, man, I wouldn't let them ride their bikes through even this nice town I live in, which is supposed to be great for raising kids and families and crime rate and all that other shit. Who took? I mean, where'd those numbers come from? But I just wouldn't let them do it. But it was weird to think how much different things were. So thought I'd point that out. But these actor dudes were having fun. And it's like they're nerds, but I think that that's kind of cool, right? Because at least they're having fun and like doing something nice. And it was basically just old people at the show. So we got to crack up a little bit and like they fucked up a couple of times. So of course we were laughing at that. I don't know. It was funny. The one, the one actor was a big old sassy dude. And like the way he was dancing and shit, I mean, he was into it, bro. And, me and Cash is sitting next to me, and I was like, damn, dude, he is getting it. He was like, he's a sassy boy. I said, yes, he is. But we were cracking up. And then, came home the next day and put on the wedding singer, and Savvy got home, and she was like, all right, Chevelle will be out first, then Cash, then you, then Elite. I'm like, and it certainly worked out the way she said it would. So what else is happening? We got lacrosse starting soon. Don't know anything about that, so I'll keep you posted on my boring life of lacrosse practices. I'm gonna try to get that buddy of mine in here. That he's still a producer now. I think he's working on all the country rock stuff. I hope I didn't already say all this shit. But I'm gonna try to get him in here, and then I got a couple other people I want to talk to. But for tonight, I'm gonna go up to the museum and. Jason and I are going to do a podcast, I think, on Veterans Day, which I'm going to put together something to do on this one, too. That whole weekend, it's important to me. My mom's birthday was the 9th, Marine Corps' birthday is the 10th, and then Veterans Day is the 11th. So it was always kind of a couple cool 3 days for me. And I'm going to put together something and see if I can't talk for a little while about that. So that's what I'm going to go do here in a little bit. I don't know if I have anything else to talk about, guys. I really didn't even feel creative when I came down here today, and that's kind of important to me. But I'm starting to learn that sometimes I don't necessarily have to feel that way when I come down here. It'll just kind of happen the way it's supposed to when I get here, right? So I don't know. I just I wanted to come put something out for sure and talk about my medical problems. But I had an idea about getting somebody else in here, kind of like not a co-host, but kind of in that lane a little bit, and because somebody told me one time that it's harder to get guests in than you think. And I was like, no way, man. Who would want to come do this? But turns out, fucking nobody. Like I've said before, man, if I lived some life where I went and like did all this extraordinary shit all the time, it would be easy to talk about. Oh, fuck. But I don't. However, I just forgot about something. Did you know that polar bears, their skin is actually black underneath of their hair? No, you didn't. Because I've heard that before, but wasn't sure about it. And we went to the zoo yesterday. The kids had the day off, so we went to the, what do they call it? The Magnificent Spectacular. They call it something, St. Louis Zoo. If you don't live in St. Louis, your zoo is not as good as ours. I guarantee it, because I've been to a couple zoos and everybody says San Diego. Now, San Diego Zoo is fucking cool, but it's not free like ours is. And I think we beat them out anyway. Now, you bitches have SeaWorld right down the street, so that's pretty cool. I can give you that one. But yeah, so we wanted to go do something, and I hadn't been to the zoo. The zoo is a place I like to go myself, so I'm like, fuck it, let's go to the zoo. But yeah, we got to see a big polar bear, and we rode that train around, and sure enough, it was one of the fun facts on the back of one of the seats on the. So I took it as my own, and then, of course, everybody knew that I read it off that thing and told me to stop saying it. But so we were checking out the lions, and we kind of walked around, dude. And this one, it turned out to be a tiger. I thought it was the king, but it turned out to be a big Siberian tiger. Started roaring. We were too far away to go. Like, we turned around to try to go see it actually roar, because we had just been looking at the motherfucker, and he was doing nothing but chewing on this big, it was like a quarter of an animal. It was awesome. But yeah, we had already taken off, and this dude started just belting. And I mean, like, that sound, it's one thing to hear it on TV, but when you're at the zoo, like, whatever, a quarter mile away from it, you could hear it. And like, right when he first started wailing, I looked back at Cash, and Cash was like, holy shit. I'm like, dude, imagine that thing not being locked up. Like, imagine that thing even having the possibility of getting at you, and you hear that fucking sound. That would be so gnarly. And but yeah, by the time we made it back over there, he was already shut up, and I think I went to the wrong place. Like I said, I thought it was the king, so I walked over to his habitat, and that motherfucker was laying around doing nothing. I always feel like, and I know that some of those animals, like, they have problems to where they wouldn't survive in the wild. So I try to picture all the animals in that category, right? I don't like to think of them like that dude was just fine being a hunter and the king of the fucking jungle, and he kill anything he wants to kill and eat it right in front of everybody. And then they tranked him and flew him from fucking Africa to be in this shitty, it's not shitty, but to a lion, it's shitty, like, enclosure at the St. Louis Zoo. Also, that those animals have got to live better lives than most, like, you know what I mean? They're very well taken care of, and those people there are so awesome. The people that work there, the zoologists, I guess they're called. So they're fucking way well taken care of and fed and everything. And so, I mean, yeah, they got that going for them for sure, but still feel bad, dude. With the predators, the other animals, it's like they're probably loving that shit. But those predators, a fucking elephant, an Asian elephant, just what do they call that when something's just walking, just pacing back and forth? It's like, dude, this thing wants to be in, and they got a waterfall for it. It's a fucking cool enclosure, but it's not freedom. So I always kind of like, fuck. I mean, as cool as it is to be able to be that close to some of these just beautiful creatures, it's still kind of a bummer that they're there. I don't know, for our education, but also amusement, But yeah, dude, some silverbacks, grizzly bears, this one grizzly, and I'm not even sure. I don't think it was like a massive grizzly bear as far as grizzly bears go. There were two of them in this, yesterday, specifically, that were out. But the one dude it might have been a female. I'm just assuming gender. That's my bad. Kept standing up, and it's just like, to see the just mass and power behind that thing. I don't know, man. Good luck. It can run faster than you, can climb faster than you, blah, blah, blah. Disembowel you with one, like, eighth of a stroke with its arm. You know what I mean? Just like those claws get at you, it's over. It's just, you feel fucking weak next to a real alpha animal, like any one of those, like those chimps. No problem swinging and just hanging by one arm. And it's like, dude, they're like 15 times as strong as the human body. It's like, it's so incredible, dude. We are, I don't know, they're not spider monkeys, but they're some kind of little monkeys. They're fucking awesome, right? So at this zoo, these kids can actually, there's a climb around thing that is right next to an outdoor, whatever these little primates are, right next to it. I mean, it's got to be fucking dope as a kid to go up there. Of course, it was closed when I take my kids because I'm a bad parent. But it's got to be cool to be climbing around in this thing and having these monkeys like basically climb around with you, right? So they're all over the place. They had all kinds of shit and to jump around and hang on and swing from. And the two were just, they were like, you could imagine it being brothers, and they were just jumping around and wrestling. And there's these other two up in the corner, obviously male, female. The one was real light gray, and there was some kids there that said like, that one's definitely the male. So I guess they saw his root, but, I didn't see any of that. I was kind of over on the other side, dude. And he starts humping on this fucking chick, this female monkey, I guess I should say. Dude, the look on the twins' faces, like Alicia and Chevelle, kind of like they went over around some other way. They were with us, but they were over there. And I was standing there with the twins, and they both kind of just looked up at me like, what the fuck is, and I mean, dude, he was just giving. Oh fuck. This is how I was laughing yesterday, but a lot louder. Cause I mean, it's like all these kids, I mean, my kids have been through sex ed. I think they have an idea, but not quite like that. He was hooking up on her, dude. And I mean to tell you, I fucking laughed, and I haven't laughed like that good, like stomach, just fucking laugh. I haven't done one of those in a minute, man. It was fucking hilarious. And so I guess he busted out and then jumped back on this bitch a couple minutes later. And I mean to tell you, we were fucking cutting up, dude. And then then the male bends over, and this female's just licking his ass, just cleaning his ass for him, dude. And I mean, at this time, my giggling ass had moved around to where they're 10 feet away from us, inside the enclosure, of course, but it's like netting, I mean, you can see they're right in front of us, dude. And again, I still had the twins with me, and now Alicia and Chevelle are kind of on the other side. So I've been, like these younger teenagers are standing over there, just everybody's just cutting the fuck up, dude. And Savvy was like, "Oh, what are they doing?" I'm like, "Man, that one's licking that other one's ass," And she was like, "Oh," and we were, but Alicia and Chevelle were kind of standing there, and this one came over, and this dude, like, I don't know if it was a male or if I wasn't over there, but he like spread eagle and just was showing him all the goods, man. And then Alicia said that he just kind of smiled, like he opened up how monkeys do and shit. And I mean to tell you, as a family, we look like a couple of fucking idiots because we were laughing, and I mean laughing. It was fucking great. Oh shit, I forgot about it. See, this is why I should just come down here and hit record, because it's funny telling shit like that. But yeah, then oh fuck. Oh, I'm gonna have to have Savvy come down here and tell you guys a story, because she's the funniest one. Because she's just like, what the fuck is going on, man? And everybody's laughing. So she just wasn't wrapping her head around exactly what was happening. I'm like, that's how babies are made. I wasn't gonna about to be like, they're fucking. But Chevelle, of course, understood that. Not, I shouldn't say, of course, Jesus. But she's been through more classes and shit than them about it. So she kind of, but she even asked me, she was like, but why was it like that? And I'm like, man, that's the easiest way, I guess, is to make, I mean, this is not my lane, but it was fucking funny, man. And so then I'm sitting on that train, and Alicia and Chevelle are in one seat, and the seat right in front of them, the whole thing's like packed pretty much, right? So there's this one seat open. And this nice old lady was sitting in it, and I said, "Ma'am, can I sit here? There's my family." She's like, "Yeah, yeah." And Alicia pointed out that she had a Marine something on her shirt. To which, of course, I said something to the effect of, "Am I sitting with another Marine or something?" And the husband or the friend of the family, whatever, this guy, and then there was another dude in front of him. They both kind of turned around, and we were talking, and he was part of the 26th Marines. I didn't look all this up, so don't quote me on it, but I think he said they were around for 6 or 9 years, whichever one. But these dudes took Iwo Jima in Japan. I mean, like the shit that he was talking about. These are some real old dudes. I mean, they were bad motherfuckers, and so we were kind of rapping about that, and then so I stood up to let the lady out. They got off at the next stop, and I stood up to let her out and kind of shook both their hands, and they were so cool. They were like, "Hey, everything going okay?" I said, yeah. Thanks for checking in and stuff. A lot of us, that's kind of what we tend to do if you don't know. Just kind of check on a dude and make sure he's doing all right. And the one I said, I kicked all the bad habits a while back, so everything's been a lot better since that. He was like, "Well, that's a good first step," and he had said something to the effect of, "You're here with your family, man, so you're doing something right." And I was like, "Yeah, so." But I was thinking about like what those guys went through, and I'm just talking Iwo Jima alone, and this is just from what I know about it, is like, maybe I'll add this in on the Veterans Day thing, but to think about what those guys went through at the same age as I was, I'm sure, and how much more difficult and how better trained their enemy, and just like logistics, resupply, and like, what it's like to fight uphill. I mean, obviously the tactical advantage is being on top of the hill, right? If you ever find yourself in a position to be in the offense, people will go high ground because obviously everybody has to come up to you, which is harder work physically. They can see less. I mean, all the tactical advantage goes to who's got the higher ground. So knowing that, man, it kind of trips me out. It gives me goosebumps and shit. But knowing that everything was against, tactically, everything was against these guys that were my age a long time ago. And they fucking held it down and fought through it and made it up. And now I get to talk to them at a fucking train or on a train at the St. Louis Zoo. And it's like, they were really nice and happy to talk to me. And there was that whole like, obviously new generation thing. Of course, these gentlemen were much older than myself, but like, the fact that, two people, there was a handful of us standing there talking, two of those guys and one of me, of course, but, that like people from completely different generations, completely different states and cities and families and everything, it can have so much in common without knowing virtually anything about each other. They asked who I was with. I told them, and they, of course, know who First Marines is and all the shit we did over the Guadalcanal. But it's like, to have so much in common with somebody that you don't know at all, that's such a different age bracket than you, and then on the train, the fucking person in the back is talking about all what's going on, which most people want to be listening to, of course, right? That's why you're on the train. Oh, coming up on your right, it's gonna be the polar bear named Jesse, and his wife goes, "Hey," he and I are talking. He's turned around talking to me, and his wife's like, "Hey, we're supposed to be listening to this." He goes, "We've got more important shit to talk about, honey." And I was like, "Yes, dude, that's such a fucking man, I would get in trouble for it, but this bad motherfucker was going to tell her, "Hey, I don't give a fuck about that polar bear or this museum. I'm talking to another Marine here, and we've got something in common that goes much deeper than that fucking bear or the zoo or anything. It was cool the way he gave me the time of day, you know. And if you don't understand that, I understand why that's hard to understand. But if you do, you get what I'm saying too, right? Those old dudes taking time to talk to a young Marine or younger Marine is something that I'll do. I'll do it anytime. But you know, and when I get older, it'll be that cool thing where it's cool to be a veteran again, you know. So that was a good kind of end of the day. We got off the train and took off from there. But I was thinking about those dudes ever since, and I'm gonna read up on 26 and kind of check them out and see what they were up to, because I know it was some pretty badass shit. But it was nice, those dudes, man, and you know, maybe we'll run into them again someday. Who knows? But well, hey man, I gotta get out of here and go up to the museum and see if I can come up with something to say on that one. So channel 12 down the hatch, dude. Appreciate it. Thanks for checking me out. Thanks for the downloads. As always, if you want to just ask me any questions or chat or come in here and be on my fucking podcast, would you? If you got something interesting to say, you could be a bread baker or a mechanic. That dude Theo Vaughn, he's a really funny comedian. He just had a New York City garbage collector, trash man, on his podcast, and I was listening to some of it. It's fucking interesting. So instead of maybe focusing on, you know, people in entertainment and sports and military and all that shit, as I've said, man, everybody's got a cool story to tell. It's just you got to get it out of them. So I'm going to keep my eyes open for just people around the neighborhood that started their own business. And Alicia knows a dude with a taco shop here in St. Louis. I think it's Rockstar Tacos. So I'm gonna kind of like try to see if I can do. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get a fucking blind dude on here. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to find a blind dude or person, girl. I don't give a fuck. That's cool with talking about like wiping your ass and how you do that and how you make a sandwich and know that you're putting jelly on it instead of like mayonnaise, you know. And I'm gonna try. That's what I'm gonna fucking do, man. Good thing I came down here today, folks. Episode 12 in the bag. Thanks a lot, man. PJMDJM1961 at Gmail if you got anything for me. Holler at your old buddy Dom. All right, man. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.